Good morning, Mario.
Okie dokie.
Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Nintendo fans. It's a fresh Monday, and I hope all your weeks are starting off extra well. If not, maybe make some tea. I'm rocking the elderberry rose hips hibiscus blend in my genie mug, which always makes things magical, especially on Mondays. Nintendo doing work. We got to talk about the prospect of a new Direct this week. Yes, they've updated their website, and their next first-party game is so close. Plus, they've been making some behind-the-scenes changes to the eShop, and there's some interesting price point news to report, and somebody found a way to get Animal Crossing New Horizons in 4K, and it's so crystal clear, so freaking smooth. We're talking Gabe like a porpoise levels of smooth. You gotta see it for yourself. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Let's dive straight into the Direct details first. Well, more like morsels, because you can never be quite sure when predicting these presentations, but the Nintendo Direct Archive website has been updated, which occasionally indicates a new presentation, and it just feels like it's gonna happen soon, because Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury is a month away. They recently opened and updated the website, yet we still have no details on what Bowser's Fury actually is and what new content is coming to the game. I'm sure they want to get their pre-orders rolling, which means they need to tell us what Bowser's angry about. What is all this fury? Is it a new set of levels? Is it a new playable character? Is it one big open level like it kind of appears in the trailers? What do they got going on? How will the online work out? And why should you pre-order this game? They've got 4 weeks, so they better get on it. I'm thinking something will happen this week, whether it's a Mario 3D World-led Nintendo Direct Mini, or just a few trailers popping up on Twitter, not quite sure, but again, be prepared because that Direct Archive was updated, and that is a bit suspicious. Plus, we don't know much from Nintendo. We know Bowser's Fury, we know Bravely Default, that's about it. What else is happening? What's coming? January is practically empty, save for the Hitman 3 Cloud version, so they gotta get rolling, right? And this week feels like a pretty darn good week. Let's talk about the eShop and what they've updated in terms of price point. You guys may have seen that oftentimes 99-cent games or 1-cent games or 9-cent games climb straight up the eShop charts. They'll skyrocket to the top of the bestsellers list, and oftentimes it doesn't make sense. You'll have a strange game about a clown that you've never heard of that looks really crappy, but it's way up there because it's only a couple of pennies. Well, apparently Nintendo hasn't liked this, and it makes sense because Nintendo struggles mightily with bringing appropriate and proper attention to the games that deserve it on the eShop. That's always been a complaint when it comes to how Nintendo showcases its software digitally. Like, do they do a good job at presenting the premier indie titles, the top downloadables? Not quite. And they've tried to make adjustments over the last 4 years, right? They do have better search functionality, better dividers, they have the bestsellers list, they have download-only games. So sleuthing fans have seen that the eShop now seems to have a $1.99 price point minimum. And that was basically confirmed this weekend by SMG Studios, developers of one of my favorite co-op games on Switch, Death Squared, a phenomenal title that has flirted with the 99-cent price point often. And they say they were told they could no longer do that, and that now $1.99 is the lowest you can go. They're not about limbo, they're about making sure that the right games rise to the top, and they feel like $1.99 is enough of a barrier as opposed to it being pennies. Now, there is some confusion around this because you can still find some ultra cheap games on the eShop, and it's not clear if those deals or prices were agreed upon before this rule went into effect, or rather, if the rule is just that these games cannot reach the bestsellers list. Are they just blacklisted from rising the charts? Either way, I think it's a good move. Yes, it's controlling the market a bit, but Nintendo has struggled forever on servicing us fans with the best stuff, especially because their eShop is prolific in terms of releases. There are so many games, almost too many at times. You'll see 30, 40, 50 releases some weeks, and that's nauseating to sift through, especially when there's hidden gems that don't have a big marketing budget. How do you make them count? Well, this is one way that Nintendo can try to do it, and I think it's a pretty smart move. Rather than allowing certain studios to game the system, now it's a bit more of a fair playing field. I'm out of honey, so I'm trying to drink this tea raw, like totally plain. Normally I'm like a 6, 7 honey swirl kind of guy, maybe 8 or 9 if nobody's looking, but plain, you can really... The aroma of the hibiscus comes through. The elderberries, they're really tasty. It's not as good, but I'm trying to do the right thing. Everybody's eager to see what becomes of the rumored Switch Pro, and would it bring 4K to some of our favorite Nintendo franchises? Is it just a moderate update? Is it going to be a home-only console? When is it coming? What's going on? Well, we don't know any of that yet, but we do have a very interesting video from Snazzy AI, who managed to get Animal Crossing New Horizons running in 4K at 60 frames per second. And it's really clean. Take a look for yourself. Looks pretty great, huh? It's ultra smooth, and you can definitely tell there's more detail. But what I think is so fascinating about this is I don't know that 4K will really make Nintendo first-party titles all that much better. Now, Animal Crossing New Horizons natively runs at 1080p 30 frames per second when docked, and 720p 30 frames per second when handheld, and I love the increase to 60 frames per second, but for all the talk about 4K, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference with Nintendo games, because yes, that does look better, yes, it's snazzy and smooth like Gabe, but at the end of the day, Nintendo does such a good job with their art direction, they don't really need 4K, and they're not going for lifelike detail, so the extra pixels aren't really put to all that much use. I think 4K is a very beneficial addition for a supposed Switch Pro in terms of attracting third-party developers and ensuring that we still get a solid influx of those types of games, you know, the ones that are currently being made for the PlayStation and Xbox family of consoles. Without the graphical improvement, Switch will probably get left behind. But when it comes to Nintendo, I'm not super concerned with the resolution. I'd much rather have the frame rate or just more power to make the games do even more and have even more effects, more characters on the screen, things of that sort. But the specifics of 4K, while it does look very nice, and while the ultra crispy villagers look like they pop right off my shelf, I don't think there's too much difference. So if you're someone that's worried about the Switch Pro and you're mainly an AC player or you're mainly a Nintendo exclusive player, you probably won't need to upgrade. And I think that's great news, because some people have been concerned that, oh my gosh, a Switch Pro means my Switch will be rendered invalid. It'll be rendered lame. It'll be rendered left in the past. And I do not think, and I've been saying this for a while, I do not think Nintendo will do anything of the sort. The games are going to run on both systems. The graphics are going to be beneficial for those that appreciate and want to play more third-party games, but it's not going to be such a big boost that your Animal Crossing, Mario Kart, Smash Bros. Game sessions are going to feel antiquated. Nintendo does its games the way they do for a reason. They don't need that many pixels, and they don't need that much power. What they do need is charm, and they've got an abundance of that. And it's the reason why their games look so darn good on the weakest system on the market currently, because weakness isn't all that weak when you have that much talent in your art and design teams. Well, there you have it for our first Good Morning Mario. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you had fun, leave a like and let me know in the comments down below what you think. What you think about Animal Crossing in 4K, and if it's changed your thoughts on a coming Switch Pro. What you think about Nintendo dropping a Direct soon. We're due for Mario 3D World info. And what you think about this $199 price point minimum on the eShop. Do you see it as a smart way to make sure the right games get to the top? Or do you think it's market manipulation and you're not a fan? Love to hear from you. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay smart out there. SwitchForce out. I'm out of honey, so I'm trying to drink this treat. I'm out of honey, so I'm trying to drink this tea just raw, plain. It's pretty plain, but it's nice to have... I'm out of honey. I'm out of honey, so I'm trying to drink this tea raw. And it's a little weird. Like, I really like the honey. We're talking like 6 swirls, and then maybe 7, 8, 9 if nobody's looking. But you can taste the flavors. The floral, hibiscus, the elderberry a little bit better. And it's not as good, but, you know, I'm trying to do the right thing here. I'm out of honey, so I'm trying to drink this tea raw, like plain. And you can really taste the aroma of the hibiscus, and the elderberry just shines through. It's not as good, but, you know,